Nigerians continue to
Tonight, the city of Lagos went agog as all routes.
Be the first to know from the north, south, east, west, and around Africa.
A federal high
We
court
break the news.
one Nigeria.
Now you can catch all the actions live as the news breaks. We are Core TV News,
Welcome to Core
a
TV News.
24-hour news station.
Welcome again. This is Core Digest on Core TV News. And the question this morning, MKO Abiola sacrificed for Nigeria. Obasanjo ruffles feathers. And that's what we've been discussing. We still have our guest, Dr. Ray Ashawin, as well as Babatunde Ashafa in the studio discussing the issue. Just before we left, Babatunde Ashafa was making allusion to the Ekpetedo Declaration, where Abiola predicted the future of this country. Who are our enemies? Didn't Obasanjo know that all along? The questions remain. Who is ruffled?
We'll just allow Babatunde Ashafa continue from there. Continue with your trail of thoughts. Please go on.
Thank you. I made reference to that Ekpetedo Declaration because the root, cause of Nigerian problem now, this gentleman, this chief, saw it all. And if you look at the message and the content of that declarations, he kept pointing that politicians in uniform, they have decided to rubbish the interests of Nigerian people. And that he had traveled the highest mountain in the world. He has gone through the deepest sin in the world, making sure that peace reigns. But with all these meetings, with all these, corporations, the military still felt that, look, the people's interest is nothing. And that, henceforth, he made himself available for people to decide. So if you look at the Chief MKO Abiola, here, a man that was blessed with people's interests. And of course, stakeholdership is not one-way-sided. It's either you are there or you are not there. There's no two way to it. He moved with them, he studied them, and he believed that a lot of pains are also going on within the military caucus and within the military rank and files. They are also suffering wherever you have the manifestations of minority interests. Everybody suffers. It's like in this studio, if the producer or presenter feel that Ashafa should just be mentioning my name, my colleague will suffer. The station will suffer. The cameraman will suffer. Everybody, the viewer will suffer as well. So there's, the Chief MKO saw it and said, look, let me come in. If we're talking of influence, not even nationally, globally, here we had a man, globally influenced. If we're talking of weight, he had a weight. But he just saw that with all this, will I take all this to heaven? Let me make a change. And they had that signal. But because of that grade within the rank and files of the Nigerian military, the grade that, look, if this man gets into this office, we will lose the grip of who becomes Nigerian president in the future. That was how they got it wrong. I'm forgetting that, look, because my colleagues, they mentioned that it was also military arrangement that we had to 1993 elections. Yes, but IBB did not, rubbish the people's interests. It did not speak for people. People spoke for themselves. IBB did not bring MKO Abiola. People brought him. And these are the issues. And if you look at it for the first time, if you look at the pattern, the formula that election followed, open ballot system, I made mention, for the first time in the history of this country, we had election without exchange of cutlasses, without exchange of guns, without exchange of bombs, without exchange of ballot box stuffing and ballot box in snatching. Where on that same day, no record of any assault whatsoever. I think the military will have also felt high that in the whole world we have done what American people, what American government has never put into their history. And that is where I want to put that declaration that this man saw it all. And he felt that, look, if I must retaliate, I should assure myself of that, honesty.
And that was a sacrifice.
That was a sacrifice.
Yes.
Dr. Ray, if according to Babatunde Ashafa, he said that the freest elections, because it was open ballot, was that of 1993, and there was no violence, there was no record of exchanging of machetes and all of that. Do you think that is the ideal kind of voting for Nigeria?
Yes, that was the kind of voting for Nigeria.
Considering how it ended.
Yes, that was the ideal kind of voting for Nigeria, because as rightly said, I quite agree with him at that point, that although the military boss was there, but Babangida did not really affect the people interest. Chief MK Abiola was the people interest, really. It was their interest, it was their man. So the people spoke. For once, the Nigerian people spoke, this is our leader, and this is who we want to be our leader. So it was a very good one.
But if you say IBB did not influence the situation of things then, we know that IBB and MKO Abiola were close friends. As a matter of fact, in a recent documentary, IBB admitted that during the course of things, when he was still fresh, Abiola and his wife and his brother were in his house at late nights discussing the situation of things. But remember that IBB was a stakeholder. Are you saying it couldn't have done anything better to turn back the tides of things then?
Looking at it from that perspective, leadership is not all about friendship, and it's about availability. They may be friends, but the question is this: who was available to lead the Nigerian state to a new phase of democracy? And it was Abiola. So whether they were friends or not did not influence. I believe it did not influence the decision, the mass decision of the people.
No, Babatunde Ashafa, what I'm trying to say is, if we say that, of course, IBB allowed the majority of people have their say by voting for Abiola, could they not have done something at that point to make sure that the election, the outcome of the election held, and the installation of Abiola as the president was seen through at that moment?
That is the very critical question. Life is about interest. And when you are in government, you do not have your way until when you're outside the government. As at then, who is who in the context of stakeholdership there decided that IBB should not try it. It should not try it because of one thing: the military agenda. This is the man rooted by the people, brought out by the people, has been people all his while. And this is a man that did not have a military background. He didn't go to any form of military training. Told them they saw MKO as a stranger coming to hold on the mantle of leadership that will decide the interests and the future of the Nigerian army. So today, let me also bring one critical question. This ongoing insurgency in the north, I had a report that, just an officer, he pulled off his cap. And they spoke in Hausa language. That, look, put on the kappa. But this man, he doesn't understand Hausa language. And they started beating him. That That is one thing. They started. Now, are we now saying that whoever wants to become, you know, an army or a soldier in this country must be an Hausa spoken person before, or you gain whatever any position in the army? That is one thing. The other one is this: you saw an enemy approaching, and you fire that person. Boko Haram is not a threat to the nation. It's not a threat to the world. The officer fire, and that officer is now questioned. And in conclusion, they now charge him for, you know, firing indiscipline. That he does not have firing discipline.
Let me hold you there very quickly. Here are some comments from some Nigerians with respect to the comments made by Chief Olusegun Obasanjo that Abiola made sacrifice for Nigeria. Here is the erstwhile governor of Ogun State, Chief Olusegun Oshoba, who says, ask Obasanjo why Abiola hasn't been honored. Is it because of envy? The former governor of Ogun State, Chief Olusegun Oshoba, has placed the blame for the non-immortalization of the winner of the June 12, 1993 presidential election, MKO Abiola, by the federal government at the doorstep of former President Olusegun Obasanjo. We had comments also from Joe Okai Odumakin, who is also the secretary of the, Odumakin, addressing the Scandi Cry, saying Obasanjo should explain to Nigeria why would he not have the deserved honor to the late winner of the June 12. Why is he waiting until now to say so? Odumakin, the male, that is the secretary of the Yinka Odumakin, the secretary of the Afenifere Renewal Group, lamented that those in position of authority were those who annulled the historic election of June 12, 1993, and they were controlling the country at the time. In the past 18 years, we have called for the immortalization of Chief MKO Abiola, but it seems it is a wrong call, because those who annulled the June 12, 1993 election are still the ones controlling the of the country today. Ray Ashawi.
Yeah,
response to those comments.
Yes, it was wonderful, and to what I believe is not just immortalizing the person by building and a kind of immortality structure. We should be able to immortalize Chief MKO Abiola sacrifice in a new system, and that is what is happening right now. And I must say this point blank, that why he's speaking this at this point in time is because the military big boys, the generals, they already lost their grip to the Nigerian leadership, and it was a good one for the new development of this great nation called Nigeria. So at this point in time, I don't believe that by immortalizing him, just giving a national honor to the person that is dead, posthumous honor. No. We don't need all that. The only way we can immortalize him is by having a new face of leadership, a new face of democracy in Nigeria.
Do you agree that we should not immortalize him, putting his name behind structures like it was going to be done at the University of Lagos? It was going to be Moshood Abiola University. Should it just be in system and not in structure?
Thank you. I salute the view of the former governor of Ogun State, but it's like these people, they don't really understand what we are saying. Who is MKO? What did he die for? The best way to honor this man is to have a free, fair, transparent, and credible election. This is what Abiola put his life for. He respected the people's interest, and he died for that interest. What is that interest? The free and fair, transparent, and credible elections. So in 2015, if the so-called military retired generals have now decided that, look, in the interest of the country, in the interest of all of us and our children, please, let's follow the path of honor. They all need to come back and give us, the real people, mandate that we go beyond minority interests. And that classical question you asked when IBB was in power. IBB did not come into, I did not know IBB through the process majority interest. I know IBB through the process of minority interest. And what is that minority interest? Through the process of gone. How many people, Nigeria is over, I think, what is our population now? How many Hamis do we have in this country? I know IBB through the process of gone, whereby just about 50 people, 70 people, and they had their way to governance. So if you have that type of, a formula, whereby people are passing through that to govern and lead people, then it's very difficult, because that's a critical question. IBB would have allowed the June 12th, mandate to be, but because it's a process of minority interest, it can't be. And of course, these are two sides. You have the minority, you have the majority. We are the majority now, and we need to salute Obasanjo. Obasanjo has never been a process of majority. All is why it has been a process of minority, and for the first time, he is telling Nigerians, he's telling his friends, he's telling the whole world, look, as far as democracy is concerned, it is not going to be the interest of the minority that will decide what happens or praise democracy. Because this is where your liberty, my liberty has to be respected. This is where, on election day, whether I have this or war, we are all one.
But
by with our
based on all this argument, Obasanjo, according to him, said that there would have been three, he was confirming the Alake of Egbaland's statement that there would have been 3 presidents from Ogun State, if not for Bad Belle. Who do you think he could have been referring to as Bad Belle?
Thank you. Maybe because of the background that I'm coming from, there are things that I consider not helpful, not useful to my generations, even to the incoming generations.
Definitely.
Now, the issue before me, issue I will consider very, very, very important to me and to my generation, my family, is how to move this country forward. How can we ensure a free, fair, and transparent election? This is a democracy. I made reference to a point. Maybe you do not know. If it was to be by the power of God, we would have had the beauty that we are seeing in Oshiomhole today. Will you have had the beauty we are seeing at Swajo today? Will you have had the beauty we are seeing in Aregbesola today? Will you have had the beauty we have in Fayemi today? If it has to be by the power of God, then we are writing these things to their children, to their friends, and grand friends. If they are need of such in a dictionary. So what we are saying is, let us all respect this democracy. Let us all appreciate that without this democracy, there cannot be progress. There cannot be future. And the best way to do is, if for Shoba and the rest, even if the former president, Obasanjo, is indeed serious about it, he needs to showcase his interest in this coming June 12th celebration. Because whoever celebrates June 12th celebrates Nigerian democracy.
Ray, would you agree along those line of
yes,
thought?
Yes, I want to say
we want to move
that
forward.
We have to move from the states, from what they say that if it's not for Bad Belle, are we talking about ethnicism here? Is Abiola fighting over ethnicism? Or this is a national man? So there are certain things that are not necessary. I believe that statement is not necessary at this point in time. What we are talking about here is how to immortalize Nigerian democracy in free and fair election come 2015.
Okay, I will refer to the same documentary in which we found out that both were friends, I mean IBB and Abiola. We saw the IBB come out to apologize for what happened, for his own contribution to what happened after the 1993 elections. And when every year, June 12, Lagos and Ogun State would have a public holiday to celebrate this same man we're talking about, Moshood Kashimawo Abiola. And this year again, we're fast approaching June 12. The question is, even those states who do not observe public holiday organize seminars to discuss how better Nigeria would have been if Abiola was put to power. But I think it's way too late for that, because the man Abiola is late at the moment. Fine, we should organize seminars, but in those seminars, as at this time, what are the things we should be discussing?
Good. Then before then, you made a beautiful point that Le Chief MKO Abiola and IBB were friends. And can I still inform you that they are still friends? Because there's not any function IBB will put together today that you will not have the first son of late Chief MKO Abiola there. Kola will always be there. Anything IBB is doing, they are still friends. You see, the contradiction there is this. And I want to refresh your mind. Last year, IBB was the first Nigerian and first Nigerian leader that declared for Goodluck Jonathan to continue in office. Now, what am I saying is this. IBB needs to get certain parameter right now. That look, the minority interest you are defending is long overdue. Now, Jonathan saw it as a plot. That look, this man wanted to calculate me rightly and now nailed me. That was where he replied them that it's too early for us to begin to discuss 2015. Now, what am I bringing out there is this. If we have a former president.
Now, two former presidents.
Two former presidents. If we have a former president, a person of Obasanjo, trying to now polish his life and put himself on the side, on the good side of history, I think it's high time for IBB to begin to follow the same foot. I am sure if IBB rise today and say this Boko Haram must end within 7 hours, I am sure the man has that capacity because he understands the logics where and how this thing can happen. So my point is the June 12 proper, the June 12, we have not changed our pattern. It has always been, let's do the right thing. And what is that right thing? Let's promote majority interest. Let's defend majority interest. Let's democracy. Nobody can challenge it. The only driving force of development now, globally, is democracy. It's democracy.
Well,
let's get it right.
Let's take another perspective from some of the comments with respect to made comment by Chief Olusegun Obasanjo. There is a comment that the most unfortunate situation now is that you do not have many politicians. Let's get this very clear. I'm very succinctly. We do not have many politicians like Abiola who believed in democracy and development of Nigeria. So what do we have in our politicians today? Ray?
Well, I think the system that we have politicians that believes in themselves, that believes in that caucus he called the minority, that they not believe that they are going there, they're being hired to move and lead the nation forward. I think that's a rightful statement because he has been in the system and he knows the kind of politicians we have in this country. So that's the rightful statement.
No, that's not a statement from General Olusegun Obasanjo, if we must make that clear. It was made by Rafsanjani.
Okay.
And of course, other statements from lawyer Adegborua, for instance, said the memories of Nigerians were not short. We know how General Olusegun Obasanjo got transformed into a military president on account purely of the sacrifices and blood of Chief MKO Abiola and other heroes and heroines of June 12. Adegborua recalled that Obasanjo openly declared that Abiola was not a messiah. Another lawyer, Tunji Abayomi, said that the former president, Olusegun Obasanjo's recognition of the late Chief MKO Abiola's sacrifice for the nation's democracy came out of the former president's deeper reflection. Abayomi, who had in the past defended Obasanjo in court, told one of our correspondents on the telephone that the former president was now free of glitters, restriction, and curtailment of office. What does that suggest to you?
Yes, let me just take this opportunity to inform all of us that look, there is no career politicians anywhere in the world. It is either you are a politician by passion or you are a politician by frustration. And nobody come through of that passion and do anything good. Oshiomhole came into politics by frustration. And I quote him. We challenge him when he said we have to go into partisan politics. We questioned him. Why? He said with all our protests, with all our agitation, with all our demonstration, without political power, nothing. I mean, serious impact cannot be achieved. And today, he said, look, let's go in there. We have been telling these people how to do it. If they don't do it the way it should be done, why can't we get there and demonstrate it and teach them to do it? Is those states not better today? So those who join politics by frustrations are the real progressive. MKO Abiola joined politics by frustration. This is nonsense for almost 25 years. Military have been on pro. No, we must change this formula. Of course, Asiwaju joined the politics by frustrations. My question is Obasanjo, I repeat, Baba joined politics by frustration or by passion? Is IBB joined politics by frustration or by passion?
We've been able to establish so many things about what we expect of the democracy of Nigeria. And of course, we're fast approaching the 2015 general elections. In summary, I want you to tell us, Dr. Ray, what are your expectations? What should people be doing to really immortalize MKO Abiola in the system, like you earlier said?
There should be what we call orientation. Time has passed when they're going to buy you something like rice, buy out our time, buy out everything about ourselves. So I tell Nigerians that they should go out there and vote their own person, the person that will move this nation to the next level. So Nigerians should immortalize Chief MKO Abiola in doing the right thing, in voting rights.
Well, voting rights, we know that the elections are here. First and foremost, we're looking forward to Ekiti State and Osun State. Then that will precipitate and give us an outlook of 2015 when the elections will come on us. What would you give us an insight into Ekiti, Osun, before the general election in 2015?
Good. If it were to be free, I mean by free, fair, transparent, and credible elections, Fashola is coming. I mean, Fayemi is coming back.
No, you're not asked to campaign here.
We're not doing that here.
What do you expect of the people?
What we're talking about,
I am coming.
I will not accept. I will not accept, sir.
Good. My point is this. If you are a product of majority interest, you have your target, you have your focus. Look, my brother, I know where I come from. Day by day, I know my target, I know my vision. So what I'm saying, I am telling Nigerians and the viewer the reality that look, wherever you see rigging, wherever you see, fraudulent elections, it's just because those who are championing the minority interests are the one, in charge of that.
I want to ask you, because you've been saying this issue of minority interest. We, the people, we are the ones who are going to vote, are we not? Minority interests don't vote. They only say these things, they influence the people. And what we're asking is, Nigeria has come of age with the passion at which we've been discussing MKO, now being vilified, now being saintly. What is expected of we, the people? That's what I'm asking you, sir.
Good. I think if I should go by your questions, the way you have cornered me properly,
indeed,
I will give it to you.
That's what we're asking.
The viewers, and of course the Nigerian people, the only day, the singular day where the rich and poor equal, claim, common interests is at that election day. And we are equal by our term. So it is one of the greatest things to the living, to exercise this, to witness this, and to practice this. I am expecting that the majority interest in Ekiti and Osun will definitely give us the clear picture of what we will have in 2015.
Thank you very much,
Ray, quickly, as we round up. Quickly.
Yes,
the same question.
The Ekiti State election will give us a preview of what will happen in 2015. So we're expecting a free and fair election.
Thank you very much. We've had Dr. Ray Ashinewe, National President, Secure Our Votes Group, and of course, Mr. Babatunde Ashafa, a human rights activist. And if there is anything we've been discussing today, it all borders around having the true democracy, which is a government by the people and for the people. And the 2015 general elections are fast approaching. What you have as your power is your vote. Go out en masse, register, and of course, on the election day, come out and vote for your own candidate. Do not be influenced by bags of rice and
minority interest.
Minority interest, of course. Let the majority voice be heard. And until then, according to Dr. Ray, MKO Abiola would be truly immortalized.
Well, MKO Abiola made sacrifice for Nigeria. That's been the topic this morning. Obasanjo ruffles feathers. But would he continue to ruffle feathers? Is this just the truth coming too late? Or is this the right time for that same truth? I am Sheyi Martins. On behalf of Ebun Lomo and all of us here, we say a big thank you to our guest, Ray Ashinewe, and Babatunde Ashafa for coming to the studio. When next we call on you, we hope you will oblige us.
Of course, and thank you.
Thank you for being there. We'll see you again in the morning. God bless.
Nigerians continue to
Tonight, the city of Lagos
There's still a poor level of
to you on
Be the first to know
on Core TV News.
from the north, south, east, west, and around Africa.
a federal high
We
court
break the news.
One Nigeria.
Now you can catch all the actions live as the news breaks. We are Core TV News,
Welcome to Core
a
TV.
24-hour news station.